Welcome back to the breakfast show that brings you what you need to think about as we begin the day. And today being the 30th of July, 2019, it's now how many minutes? 19 minutes to 7 o'clock, and you're joined by our panelists here to discuss several matters, including remembering Joyce Laboso, the governor of Bomet. We have Sylvia Kasanga, nominated senator, Pamela Odhiambo, the woman representative for Migori County, Gladys Wanga, woman representative for Homa Bay County, and Uasin Gishu's woman representative, that is Gladys Shollei. Karibuni sana, and thank you for making time for us on the show.
Thank you.
Ladies, thank you for being here. Let's take a look at what some of the stories making headlines on the Standard and the Daily Nation. Whichever of these gazettes you decide to buy, you'll definitely see Bomet Governor's Dr. Joyce Laboso's face on it as we try and remember her. The Standard newspaper, I want to go home and rest. The Daily Nation, smiling with the angels, gives a chronological order rather of her life from page 4, 5, and 6. And that's the same thing you also find on the Standard newspaper. Perhaps we can begin off with there. Let me begin with you, Honorable Gladys Shollei. How will you choose to remember the late Dr. Joyce Laboso?
I think I'd remember her as one of our finest. I think one of the very best of the women and everything that you'd admire in a woman. I usually choose people to watch whenever I hold a certain position, and she was one of them. When I joined politics, I watched her. And I learned so many lessons from her. One of them is, you could just be yourself. You could be soft-spoken and still bring down a giant. That you could still be an enigma that personalizes any woman and still be made of steel, like people would expect men to be. Yeah. And so I want to remember about that. And I looked at it, I felt really sad yesterday, and I said, we couldn't even get 5 women governors, and we get 3, and we lose one of them. And I remember questioning God and said, how can this happen? And you think she really been as a rock, not just to the people of Bomet, but also her family. Her family say she's been someone very dependable, both as a mother. She raised the children of her late sister. She's literally held her entire family together. So as a daughter, as a wife, as a politician, as an accomplished professional, she's everything that anybody could be. But most importantly, she broke certain barriers, not only just making it as a woman governor. When in the first time we didn't have any women, she was a formidable deputy speaker in parliament, and even she broke all barriers, being married in Luo Nyanza, and being able to run home, because usually that becomes a liability, and how enemies tried to use that against her. But I have the highest respect for the people of Bomet, because they put that aside and decided that she's competent, she can be able to serve us. Right. It doesn't matter, and it's an amazing thing, because I've seen the same challenge that people like Cecily Mbarire did have, where she's told, you should go and run in Teso and not run in Embu. I have the same challenge in Uasin Gishu County, where people believe I should have run in Elgeyo Marakwet and not in Uasin Gishu. But it just tells us that, it also shows what a woman is. A woman can be born somewhere else, married somewhere else, and reside somewhere else and work there. And so I think if we really want to break down tribalism in this country, then we see a day when a woman married from central Kenya is married in Teso and goes and runs in Teso and is actually elected. Right. But we've seen that also with Florence Mutua. So slowly this we're breaking through that.
Honorable Wanga, how would you choose to remember her? Because clearly leadership was nothing foreign to her. Firstborn out of 6 siblings, she was the head girl in her primary days when she was in primary school. Leadership was clearly something very natural that would come to her. How will you remember Dr. Joyce Laboso?
I think she was a natural leader. I first met her when I came to Parliament in 2013, and we had the speaker's elections, and the speaker's election was quite contentious, went to the second round. But when it came to election of the deputy speaker, all of us really just voted her, and she never had to go to a second round, despite the political divide, everybody just voted her, and she took on that seat, with a lot of stoic and she was very good at her job, even as deputy speaker, very humorous, very fair, and despite the fact that sometimes we did have political differences, she never at any point took it personal. She was a politician enough to know that everything was politics. Sometimes it was politics, but there was nothing personal at the end of the day. So Joyce was really, really likable. She was very humble, and what was striking about her, and a lesson to me many times, was as you watched her as the speaker, or even when she became governor, it was never about her. It was never about her. She never ever brought it out as if, oh, this is Joyce, it is my strength, it is my... No. She always said, and I remember clearly once when she made a presentation at the Commission on the Status of Women conference in New York, and it was never about her. She said that she was standing on the shoulder of giants, of other women who had gone forward to create a path. She was very, very outward looking. She was very clear that nothing she did, she never ever reflected it back on her. She always, gave credit to other people and gave credit to people who made the path, and, almost, was very humble. So I really remember even this year in March when we met at the Commission on the Status of Women again, she took us all for lunch, including Dr. Ida. She said, oh, the governor is here, so, let's all go, let's have lunch, let's have some fun, and she was... And that's Joyce,
Right.
And I think we should never forget what she said about Gladys. She said, when she said, Gladys poured water on me, but she wasn't pouring on me. She was pouring it on the deputy speaker, whom she had a difference with, and so she respected.
All right, I was actually coming to that.
Yeah, so, I mean, just imagine the grace. And she was so above it all that she, like you said, she's a true politician. Some other people would take it personally. She never took it personally, not for a minute.
How did you resolve that at a personal level?
We spoke immediately after, very soon after. I told her, really, Speaker, I'm sorry, it was never about targeting. Actually, the water was meant for the peppers. But she happened to be sitting there. She took it in her stride. She said immediately, look, Gladys, don't worry about it. It's nothing. There's nothing personal, it's all politics. So many people have said, even on my social media, when I said, people sometimes think that when we are on different sides politically, that there's a personal problem, So I just want to, clear it that we resolved the matter. There was nothing personal between Joyce and I. It was all, the politics of the time, just like it would be with Gladys Boss here, or, but then beyond that, we sort of just move as women leaders, and does not remove the fact that I admired her greatly as a leader. As the leader that she was, and as a pioneer governor. Okay,
Pamela Odhiambo, it's your first time, just like Sylvia Kasanga, to be in Parliament. And of course, when you get to that house and you see the kind of name that she left, I mean, how does that inspire you as a legislator, or a first-time legislator in the House?
May the Lord rest her soul in peace. And I once again say, Pole, not only to her family, but also to the people of Bomet County and the great nation of Kenya. I think even before I came to Parliament, I have been watching Joyce from afar, and I was amazed. I think many times she testified that politics was not her game, and her inspiration to come and stand in was just caused by the death of her late sister, Lorna, whom she really thought had some bright ideas. And she said, I'm not coming in with anything new, but I'm coming in to fulfill her dream. And with that, she graciously picked up the mantle, and the people of Sotik were very happy with her and continued like that. In a nutshell, I want to describe her as a very gracious leader. something that made me very inspired from what my sister Gladys has just said.
Right.
You know, what happened that day in Parliament, everybody out there really expected her to come out so strong and with rage, and, you know, but she softly said, I forgive unconditionally. You know, I think that really made sense to me. And I thought, yes, there is somebody in that lady. And so I've always looked at her as one of my sincere mentors. And I liked her because of her firmness. She would say just a yes for a yes and a no for a no. And the focus. We all allude, women, we have really serious challenges. When she was campaigning, I remember people really uttering very harsh words to her, go and vie in Kisumu, but she would never reply to any of that. She would go on and discuss what she had for the Bomet people. And I thought, yes. So I think I picked a lot from her, and even when I was campaigning myself in Migori County, I decided I was not going to argue with anyone. I would tell the people about myself, my vision, and the Migori people, and I saw it work. And I think much as she departs, this is something that I want to carry on with, you know. The leadership, the focus, the issue is the people, the work to be done, and not the individuals who do any other things. I think that's one thing that I really want to pick from her. From her last comment, like I was very touched with this. I want to go home and rest. You know, this is very inspiring. And as I was meditating upon this, two verses came to my mind. I'm born again, and let Kenya love me thus. I was thinking about this verse in James 14 and 13. And, you know, the Bible is encouraging us. Do not really boast about tomorrow, because you don't know really what tomorrow holds for you. Say that if God wills, we would be able to do this and that. And I thought I was seeing that in this great lady whom we are mourning today. And Psalms 90:12 says something like, Lord, teach us to number our days so that we may apply our heart to wisdom. So in all this, I realize how short life is. But again, I realize how if you applied your heart to wisdom and following and yearning to do what is right all the time, you can accomplish much within that short time. I think our dear governor has rested a very young woman. And much as we think it is such a loss to the women leadership in this country, but what she has accomplished, how she has carried herself, you know, Bomet is happy. Actually, Bomet was very happy with Laboso. I have friends in Bomet, courtesy of my research work that I used to do when I was in the university. And they were happy, very happy with her. How I pray that legacy will continue with us, even as we mourn her today.
As you talk about legacy, we'll shortly be taking the story that traces back the path of Joyce Laboso as a politician. But Sylvia Kasanga, just the same question to Pamela. So, as a young senator coming in as a nominated legislator, do you think, when you look at how Joyce came into that space, what lessons do you pick, even as you focus on the future of a politician that is you?
Thank you so much. Let me just also say fare thee well to our very humble governor. And let me say to the people of Bomet, as they mourn the loss of their governor, they also need to celebrate the fact that she has demonstrated good leadership. Because from the tributes, as the Honorable here has said, they are very happy with her work. The tributes are flowing, a sign of somebody who performed her duty selflessly. I did not know her personally, but I followed her footsteps from the time she was a deputy governor. Deputy Speaker, sorry, yes. And I must say, as a young politician or a young leader, she has given us something to look forward to. She has demonstrated, even as a woman, you can get there, you can be a fair leader, you can be a good leader. And the people of Bomet need to celebrate that. And they need to know they now have the ticket to elect good leaders going forward who will work for them, you know. And I want to say that something she said, and it was played in the media yesterday when she was the deputy speaker. And she said, when I took oath of my position, you put aside everything and you become a leader of everyone, regardless of the party that you come from, and the party affiliations and the political affiliations. And you have had the honorable members talking about her fairness in the House. And this is something a lot of our leaders grapple with, that even after taking oath of office, where you're supposed to uphold the Constitution and fight for the rights of Kenyans, you find that the balance between that oath and that which is your affiliations becomes, a really big problem.
It's a conflict.
So as young people, and as we grow into leadership, we need to realize that this is a delicate balance. And the first thing is, of course, the oath that you take in the eyes of the Lord and in front of the Kenyans and the Constitution. It has to take precedence. And you have to lead with, with fairness and fight for the Constitution, in as much as you have your other political affiliations, to balance it out.
Right.
Yeah, so that would be the message for the young people that we have learned from
Dr. Joyce.
Dr. Joyce Laboso.
And here on Daybreak, we continue to celebrate the life of Dr. Joyce Laboso. And the death of Dr. Joyce Laboso has been a big blow, not only to her family, but also to the county government of Bomet, having lost two high-profile daughters. Take a look at this story by Stephen Leto.
It is the tragedy of unimaginable proportions for Laboso family. Joyce Laboso's death comes just over 11 years after that of her sister Lorna Laboso, who died in a tragic plane crash on the 10th of June 2008.
Joyce Cherono Laboso.
It is the death of the late Lorna Laboso that ushered a reluctant university lecturer, Joyce Laboso, into politics.
I stand for what my late sister stood for. I'm not coming in with a new policy. I'm not coming in with a new program. I am starting where Lorna left off.
You have elected me. You have elected me, your MP. Thank you for confirming that you still want Lorna's agenda to be continued in Sotik.
Joyce proved herself effective on the stump, winning herself a second term as Member of Parliament for Sotik constituency. In 2013, Joyce Laboso rose to become the National Assembly's Deputy Speaker, representing Speaker Justin Muturi in continental conferences. In the 2017 general election, Laboso plunged into the epic battle for the seat of governor in Bomet, taking on political titan Isaac Ruto of the CCM party. It was a race that was teeming with undertones that included a challenging supremacy battle between Isaac Ruto and Deputy President William Ruto, and a proxy war between Jubilee presidential candidate Uhuru Kenyatta and NASA flag bearer Raila Odinga.
Mumempatia yeye 5 years na 20 billion. Patia Joyce pia 5 years na 20 billion. Alafu kesho museme ni nani amefanya kazi.
The two slogans Kiwole and Mokiwole in a local dialect to mean change for Laboso and remain with status quo for the rebel Ruto. Laboso sweeping out Isaac Ruto from the governor's seat on election day, a powerful brown leathered revolving chair that casts a lonely image inside the Bomet governor's office.
All right, that's the story of Joyce Laboso. And before we get back to our panelists here, there have been tributes that have been sent out by some leaders that is to do with Deputy President William Ruto and Raila Odinga. Let's just listen into what they had to say.
We've lost one of us, a courageous, hardworking, very progressive woman leader in Kenya. As we all know, Joyce was among the pioneer elected governors in the Republic of Kenya. And she won against many odds. She demonstrated beyond doubt that she was made of very good metal.
We have lost Joyce Laboso, a great lady in our nation, a strong fighter for justice and freedom. She has stood firm ever since she joined the world of politics, following the tragic death of our sister Lorna. And she has all the time stood on the side of the right.
On behalf of the council, that we have lost a great leader, and then as a nation, not only as Council of Governors, because this is a lady who has been very, very hardworking, and that's why when she came to Council of Governors, we made her to be the chair of finance.
Bomet people, residents, you've been very great to Joyce. You've really given her great support. Such great support against all odds, as the DP has mentioned. I mean, it was something unprecedented in this country for her to be married elsewhere and then come and work elsewhere. It started from Sotik, and I also wish to thank the people of Sotik very, very much. To my family members, I want us to be strong. We have to be strong for her.
All right, the last speaker there is the husband of Dr. Joyce Laboso by the name Edin Abonyo. Now, unfortunately, we need to take a short break, but when we return, we'll be talking about the cancer, the journey of cancer of Joyce Laboso, because you see that on the standard, Laboso loses 28-year battle with cancer. I'll be just talking about that in as far as you know about her journey. That you can also text us your views on 22422 or Twitter at Citizen TV Kenya.
At Sam Gituku at Zinzi_K. If we'll also have a big and broader conversation of what it means to be a woman in politics as we celebrate the late Dr. Joyce Laboso. This is Daybreak. Stay with us.